No.
Yes, I'll never be.
And we're live.
Oh no. Hi, welcome to Dungeons and Dad Jokes. If you are just joining us for the first time, stick around, watch. If you like it, please like the video, subscribe, share it, hit the notifications if you want to know when we're live. If you want to join the live chat during all of this, you're going to have to be a subscriber, so go ahead and subscribe. For that.
I did.
Well, that's good.
I'm subscribing right now and loving it.
All right. Well, I have to get my. Oh my gosh. I guess no, I wasn't ready. The answer is no. All right. Let's start with last week. Last week, after scouring the room in the catacombs and finding a couple of items, you guys unlocked the doors, the double doors, to go deeper into this hidden area. They opened up and headed down into a very large, mostly empty room. There was a pedestal in the center, about 5 feet in diameter, with a longsword floating above it. And around the floor, Evangeline, when she walked in, found with her magic, her detect magic, she found that there was magic underneath the floor and also an invisible creature. This creature was large, centipede-like, with several legs ending in sharp points. After some time fighting this creature, it was eventually killed and fell through what seemed like the floor around the pedestal, showing that that was an illusion. Once the room became calm again, the focus turned once more on the sword. They were sent to retreat. Evangeline first tried her mage hand to grab the sword, but found it simply disappeared while going through the air near the sword. Vix then fashioned a lasso and lassoed the hilt and pulled it free. Once the sword pulled free, each of our adventurers had a vision, a flash that came before them and followed by a maniacal laughter. Recognizing the voice from one heard in the arena some time ago, all became more leery of the sword. Upon bringing it out of the catacombs, they decided to learn more and returned to the inn where they had originally gotten rooms to stay. After a quick check-in with his order, Kadeth followed Fix to the university's library. While there, they found and borrowed a few books on the ancient worlds. They discovered the second world was the start of the old gods, where they ascended and gained their followings. The third world became the battlefield of the good versus evil gods, and rifts still remain from this aftermath. By the seventh world, the gods were forgotten. Then, taking the rubbings of the symbols found on the sword that Fix had gathered, to the professor there, Professor Tomlinson, they discovered that one of the symbols had a likeness to an ancient rune for the word dark, or darkness. They then went to the inn to meet up with the rest of the group. In the meantime, Evangeline went to the Order of Truth to do some research for herself. With the aid of a mentor, she found that powerful mages of the ancient worlds had created legendary artifacts. These were used by the avatars and champions of the old gods, but were lost or destroyed over the ages. Also, the symbology found in the lower room was often associated with an old god, Belsharun, who would instill fear on others, causing them to do nothing. They are simply too afraid to do anything. Evangeline also noticed the symbol often associated with Belsharun, which looks similar to one of the sword's rubbings, meaning death. She also took her findings to meet up with the rest of the group. Seeker and Forsyth headed back to the Trinson estate, gathered their things, and after informing Brumon that the task was not yet completed, they left and waited for the others at the inn to join them. That is where we are picking up. Everybody's gathering at the inn. And what do you wish to do? The inn is not horridly crowded. There are several patrons there, though. I am sure Seeker and Forsyth found a table that was kind of either isolated or in a corner or whatever so that you guys could speak freely without being overheard, as one does.
Like you do.
Like we did.
Yep. Like you do.
I'm gonna go in, sit down, just motion toward the barkeep for for food, drink, whatever. Kind of haphazardly, not even really paying attention, and sit down and start reading this book some more
Okay.
and see what I can figure out about either sword that I'm interested in.
Okay. Kadeth is reading. What is in my screen? Okay, there we go. Kadeth is reading. He sat down at the table with his nose in a book. Yeah, I'm picturing Belle in my head right now, walking everywhere with a nose in a book.
Fix would probably sit at the same table and pull out his parchment with the rubbings and everything and try to recreate or get better definition on the rubbings.
Okay.
Well, actually, let me see. With a 3 on the roll, I don't think his perception would pick up Seeker or Forsyth. So yeah, he would just follow Kadeth.
I mean, I would have looked for them in there, but
So perceptive of you.
So perceptive. They're both got their noses in books and parchments. They're going to run into all kinds of things.
I mean, I would have given them the briefest of nods.
Yeah, Fix wouldn't even known they existed at this point.
I would rephrase what I was going to say. I will search out Seeker.
We'll seek.
Easy enough. You will seek Seeker. That's what you
Because
wanted
I
to say.
am going to tell him some of the things that I discovered.
Okay.
One of the things, and I double checked on the video, I saw a symbol that looked similar to one on the sword, but you didn't tell me which symbol on the sword it looked similar to.
It was
Um,
the
Parchments we all got. Right?
the what?
well, there was
Those-
only one parchment. I didn't know that anyone wanted a copy of it.
No. The notes we all found in our rooms before all of this had that same symbol I thought you said, Jody. That's on the
I
sword.
don't recall notes in your room.
Neither do I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
me
don't
either.
have that on the video.
Okay. I thought we all got like a message. Like
We all had a
2
vision.
days ago.
You all had
Oh,
a vision.
No, I remember that, but we
Oh,
also
okay.
got a note.
What would that possibly have been the week before?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Hey.
Let me go back to my notes.
I would have to go
Look at
and
me, I-
rewatch it.
I got my name written here so I remember who I am.
I don't remember, unless it was just information to go look for the sword, like the letter or something of that nature, a map or whatever. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and
Notes
double
I
check.
would have been better, and I'm sorry I don't.
That's all right.
I will go back this week and listen to that episode and take notes.
But I will say that there most likely isn't any of the same symbols that are on the sword on those letters, if those letters were there.
I went to one of the wiser, higher up at the order, and he and I were talking, and I was asking him about the what I saw on the door and some of the things I saw with the sword. And he pulled a book and flipped through was flipping through it to a page with a symbol that was similar to a ruin that I saw.
You showed that to Seeker?
I'm asking Jody a question.
Oh, okay.
Jody, you listened to the episode too.
I did. I didn't hear a question. I heard a statement. What are you asking me?
The ruin that looked similar. It didn't look exact. It looked similar. What rune did it look similar to? In
In
you
the
may
order?
not even know.
In the sequence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know that stuff. What do you think I do? Playing this 5 minutes ago?
It's like the rest of
Yes.
us.
Oh,
No. In order from the hilt to the tip of the sword, the 5 symbols across the blade. The first 3 you have not figured out. The 4th one is the one that Fix found out about from the professor.
Found out about. Yep.
The 5th one is what you found out about.
What I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking. So I will go to Seeker. And I will sit close to him so that we can have a private conversation, but not too close because
He would push you
Personal.
away.
personal space, please.
Yeah, he would go, no. No.
We are on the same page. That the symbol, I have too many notes here, that looked similar was the 5th. Now I know he didn't see up close the sword. Was the 5th that was closest to the tip. It didn't look exact, but that it did look very similar, and it is the symbol of death. I always will go to Seeker first. And I'm not going to shout it across the room, and I don't know where everybody else is at.
Question was to Seeker then, yes?
That comment was to Seeker.
Okay. So
I am
since,
sitting not too close, but close enough to have a quiet private conversation.
so since I worship Kellenvor, would I be able to answer that question? Jody?
But
I will.
I didn't hear a question. Again, I didn't hear a question.
Okay.
I heard a statement.
I remember. I don't know if you remember. What after I left, I stayed and did some drawing
Yes.
and took some notes.
Yes.
I am showing him what I drew,
Okay. And
that
you
it
told
is
him?
death, and I told
Okay.
him this is very similar to the 5th runic symbol on the sword. I am going to verify him that it is very possible from the second world. But we have but because of it's the second world, we don't have any artifacts from the second world. If this is from the second world, it will be the first artifact found from the second world. Now he has a question about.
So my question was, would I be able to answer that question? If it is in fact the matching symbol for death?
You're not really sure. It does seem like a symbol for death. What she is showing you does definitely seem like a symbol for death. It is an ancient symbol. It's been changed over the ages, of course, morphed a little bit. It seems like a more simplistic symbol of death. So yeah, you can confer with her that is the symbol of death, or that you would believe that it would be the symbol of death. Whether or not it matches the sword, though, you would have to check the parchments because you actually never went near the sword.
So I will look at it, the parchments or whatever you're talking about then.
All right.
Fix has
Fix
them.
has those.
Oh, when he gets here.
He is here. We all came in together.
Are you sitting down at the table, Kadeth and Fix?
Both are
Better.
engrossed
We
in
told
their
them
book.
they were paying.
The question is, has anybody told Fix that Seeker and them are there?
Oh, Kadeth would have saw him. Kadeth saw him when he walked in.
We're sitting there in the open.
Yeah, they're not like trying to hide. They're just
Oh, no, that's not it. I'm just saying
Right out
he
in the
was
middle.
pretty oblivious with everything
Yes,
going on.
pretty oblivious. But you walk into the center of the room and you stop and go, and you look around and make,
He's the third man that walked into the bar and forgot to duck.
yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely went in there, saw them, sat at the table, but then unless I'm addressed, I'm totally engrossed.
Then at that, like, Fix pokes Kadeth in the shoulder,
Huh?
and if he takes too long to react, he'll poke him again in the shoulder a little bit harder.
It might take a second, but I'll eventually. What?
He'll kind
is
of do the move it, point his thumb over to the other table, like, we should go over there.
Oh. Okay. And I'll pick up
Are
my
we being
steps.
antisocial today?
No, just really interested in finding information about swords.
Okay,
Hopefully.
we should go over there then.
I
And
pretty
Fix
much
will
don't
walk
care,
over.
so I don't get my feelers hurt.
I'll go over there, but it'll take a second to gather my stuff up.
All right. You sit down. Do you pull out? What do you share, Fix?
I would share essentially what we found out about the second age, or the second world, and I will put those books on the table, and we'll share what I found out about the fourth symbol, right? It was
Mhm.
darkness.
Are you pulling out
Yep.
your rubbing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I
So
will
you will
show
get a
them,
good chance to get a good look at that, Seeker.
and then I'd show the book on the symbology. I don't know the proper term, whatever.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't set that one on the table because he's in the middle of looking through it.
Okay.
But if Evangeline tells
Symbols
him about
of past world or worlds gone
Yeah.
by. It's what Jody said the title was.
Maybe I should write that down.
I
there a
like
title to
having
the one
good
I'm reading?
notes.
Is there a title to the one I'm reading?
That's the only book that had a title.
Oh, okay. Because
And
I
does it-
literally, when I sat down at this table, I just pulled the book out and was reading again. I'm totally engrossed.
does Evangeline share what she found on the fifth symbol?
Yes, I am going to get ready to share a whole bunch, even though you guys already heard.
So, Seeker, once
Yeah.
he lays out that parchment, you see that fifth symbol, and yeah, to you it looks very similar, if not the same, just by the way that it's worn and whatnot. That's why it's not like 100% identical, but it's similar enough that you could say, yeah, that I'd say that's matching.
Yeah. That's what he
I will take the drawing that I made, and I will open it up, and I will lay it on the parchment above the rubbing of that fifth symbol for everyone to see that's sitting at the table, which I assume is everyone now.
And I would confer in the book to see if that symbol is in there.
Digging around a little bit, you do eventually find that symbol. Near where the other symbol was, age-wise, it's from the second world. And it is a symbol for death or the beyond, or sometimes even afterlife.
While he's thumbing through his books, I will pull out the second drawing that I made. It's a drawing of a skull with crossbones. It's got a crown on its head. The eyes are red.
What is that?
And I will set it down. And I will ask Six, is this in your book of symbols from the past?
He'll try to find it.
In your book of symbols, that one's not there. However, Kadeth, now that you've been pulled out of your book a little bit, you recognize it
Not
from
much.
the book you read, or you are reading. You've seen this symbol. The skull with the crown and the red eyes, you've seen this associated with the old god Valsharun from your book, from the book you're digging through.
I'll make sure I know where I'm at and flip back to that point and just reread it real quick. And if there's anything super important about it, I'll tell everybody.
You've learned that Valsharun was a demigod of necromancy, the undead. And was definitely chaotic evil. Paid no mind to the lives that were lost for him to build his undead armies and get liches to submit and do his bidding.
I hear people were dying to be in their undead army.
That's right. They were just dying to follow him. And from reading this that part of Valsharun's during the third age, during the second age, this would have been during the second age, toward the end of the second age, right before all of the major clashes of the gods, that the Raven Queen, from reading your book, managed to take some of his undead army and basically used the army of the undead in order to claim her right as a goddess.
Okay. Was this in this book, or is this something I knew from before?
No, this is from this book.
Okay.
Most of your order knows that she ascended, that she wasn't, that she ascended after most of the old gods were already there, but that she ascended, she's the only one that managed to from the end of the second age and since, as far as you know. But your order never really knew exactly how. But this book seems to imply that she used an undead army to claim her rights.
Undead are fine. They're just undead. If they're not being used for an evil purpose, then whatever. But I would share the information about that with everybody. And then if nobody says anything, I'd just go right back to where I was in the book. Since I'm looking for information about the swords and
yeah, that's about the part that you got to.
Symbols are less important than the swords for me at the moment.
Fix kind of hems and haws and looks around. He's like, I don't know who made the blade, but it's got to be even better than what we think if God will say that it's fine workmanship. The God of workmanship would say that it's fine workmanship. So, yeah, there's that. Anyways, and he goes back into the book. And trying to match up the additional symbols now that we have an idea of the era that they came
Okay.
from.
Okay. Roll me investigation. 6. You're going to have a bar wench come up with some food and drink and kind of setting it down on the table, not really paying any mind, walking away.
I hardly eat anything compared to my normal.
Fix will take the drink and take a moment to check the bar wench out and then go back to his book. Investigation roll of 19.
19. All right. You're digging through the book. It's going to take you a little bit of time. You do run across a symbol that you think might be the first one, which is life.
I would share that with the group. And like he's writing on the rubbing, like next to each of them, he'll be like little line, life, and then draw the actual symbol to compare it to the etching.
And then you're putting like who it's associated with if there is one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any God association necessarily. This is just a runic symbol for life. Much like you would use arcane symbols to enhance or enchant a weapon or whatever.
Here I use arcane symbols to accompany music.
There you go.
Old music.
Very magical music.
Very magical.
And if I run across any symbols in the book while I'm reading, I will at least point them out to Fix.
All right.
And see if they match anything that is on his parchment, his rubbing.
All right. You're not running across anything. You're getting a good dose of, history from an oral tradition that may or may not be completely made up.
That's a lot of word vomit.
Yeah, it's a lot of word vomit. Foresight and Seeker. Evangeline, how do you find yourself engrossed in these parchments, books, notes? Are you reading a bunch of stuff, or are you watching the two of them read? Eating.
I am studying the rubbings and racking my brain as to if I saw any of them, as we never gave him a name, was flipping through the book.
Just one of the older priests. Foresight and Seeker.
See.
I don't picture you guys being totally engrossed in the rubbings and the reading the books and Seeker, with your military background, I'm sure your eyes are scanning. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for opportunity.
Right. I need perception checks for both of you.
Coming right up.
Not very good at perception.
On the table, Robert.
All right. Let me turn
So
off
that
the
is
dice
a
thingamabobber.
16. You said perception?
Mm-hmm.
So 17.
17.
Wait, that's persuasion. I can't read.
Oh, yeah.
19.
Close enough.
Okay, I
They
have to
both
turn
start
off
with P.
beyond 20. Perception. Yeah. All right, roll it. Where is my roll? Do you ever have one of those days?
Every day.
15.
15. All right. Forsyth, the tavern's getting a little bit more busy. You see plenty of opportunity that you could get up. There's a couple of entertainers that are starting to play, start making some noise. There's an area that's cleared out for like some dancing and things like that if somebody wants to go dancing. You see a couple of people up there goofing off. So the tavern's starting to pick up and become a little bit more lively as evening draws closer. You have opportunity, if you so choose, to go pick pockets.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Seeker.
I make more money that way.
Not added the knot.
You
Hope you don't get caught. Seeker
It's
says.
character.
Right.
It's a character. You gotta play
Seeker
him.
says, I hope you don't get caught.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're there for, to watch my back.
No.
He'll watch you.
No. He
Watch
says,
you get in trouble.
and watch them
Okay,
cart your ass off to jail.
I didn't do very well, so I got an 11.
Oh boy.
Well, being that the tavern's picking up in busyness and whatnot, you're probably going to be pretty easily to play it off as, oh, excuse me, sorry.
Sorry. Didn't mean to bump into you there, fella.
Yeah.
Just trying to get from point A to point B.
You'll get a couple of, oh, that's fine, and you'll get a couple of like a little rough elbow or whatever, like,
Watch
shut
where
off
you're going.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So you get a plethora of reactions. Seeker, as
Yes.
you're watching this going on, you do notice a man sitting on a far corner wearing dark clothes. There definitely seems, every now and then when he moves, you can tell he's wearing a chain of some kind, a necklace, an amulet, something. There's something hanging on his neck. Every so often it gets caught in torchlight or whatever, and it glints. You can tell every so often he kind of looks up, looks your guys' way, and then goes back to whatever he's doing.
So I look to see if there's anybody else that fit that description and exhibit that behavior.
You don't see anybody else that's doing that. I mean, your group gets a look every so often. You're a plethora of people with parchments on a table. Obviously they're like, oh, they're doing something business oriented or whatever. You get the obvious casual look.
Mm-hmm.
You do notice there is one other, a female, at the bar that she's not dressed in the same manner, but she has looked your way a couple of times, and she's collected a couple of things from the bar, and she's heading over to the table where that man is, and she's kind of setting things down. And she
You're
sits
watching what
with
she's
her.
doing. Go ahead.
She's sitting with her back towards you. She sits down with her back towards you.
Forsyth.
See?
I point the guy out to him as surreptitiously as I can. Why don't you go check out that guy and girl over there? They seem to have a very inordinate amount of attention coming our way, and they're trying to look nonchalant about it.
Yeah, I can position behind them somewhat.
And you are hearing me correctly in this, Forsyth. If you might want to lift something off of him, feel free. Go nuts.
Do that.
Don't need to tell him twice.
Yeah.
To tell him once.
True.
So I will.
All right.
I will take that encouragement.
All right, you make your way over there.
If he does get in trouble, I will help him because I actually encourage this.
You actually asked him to do this.
You're encouraging the behavior.
I got a 23 on stealth.
What a stealth.
Nice. All right, yeah, they don't seem to notice you
I
as
only
you
got a
make your
20.
way around.
I've got
You
a
blend in with a
21
few people moving around the table and whatnot, and you manage to get yourself tucked up into some shadow and whatnot.
Good
Got
sleight
a
of hand.
21 on
too.
sleight of hand.
Yeah.
21 on your sightless hand, you said?
Sleight of hand, yes. To
Okay.
lift some things from their person.
Which person? The man or the woman?
The man.
The man. All right.
It's more busy.
While you're working on that, what time of the day is it?
It's early evening. I'd say like 5-ish. Okay. Let me see what this person has on them. Wow. You want to stop rolling them dice?
That's really loud.
Thank you.
Wasn't me.
Oh, you were just crackling because you were walking away from your computer.
Well, I'm actually I'm on the other side of the house right now. So
Aha.
but I have my phone, which has D&D Beyond on it.
Right, but it was just the audio is like,
Okay.
It does go in and out, yeah.
yeah, I was cutting in and out a little bit.
You are going to pull out of this person.
Oh, and Jody, when you get a chance, I cast the invisibility.
Okay.
Oh, no, I can't. I'm out of second level spots. We haven't rested.
Yeah, I got one
You
spell
haven't
slot left.
rested yet.
We first level, but no second level.
You've had a short rest. Was that not good enough?
I don't do clerics.
You
Only
can
for
replenish
warlocks.
Something on short rest.
I don't think clerics get this back.
Actually,
The
clerics
clerics
can use a divine
Oh, divine
inspiration
power.
or divine slot to get back.
Yeah, I have one left. I'll use that and cast that spell then.
But that's one
All right.
half of your modifier. If you have a like a 2, which what you might have now,
Ah,
you get a level 1 spell.
Because that's very much a nice thing with warlocks.
You get
Is
that back. All right, never mind.
getting spells back is a very nice thing with warlock for short rests.
It's the only nice thing.
I don't know. Warlocks are pretty cool.
Warlocks are powerful AF.
Oh,
Like,
you ain't
yeah.
picking that up.
They're
Sure, they
fodder
don't
at
have a
young
lot of
levels.
versatility, but they make up for that in their
Fodder at young levels.
basicity.
Senior, you're breaking up really badly.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let's see if that's small enough for you to pick up. There's no way you're picking up that other thing. Not in being stealthy. All right. You manage to take off his person. A set of rings. You see, they're handheld. It's a metallic device. They're interlocking hollow metal rings. You managed to pick up off this person without his knowledge. Forsyth. Roll me another perception check as you're picking his pocket.
Not bad.
17.
All right. 17. 17. That's not with that color in here. You will see with a 17, Forsyth, that the amulet that's hanging loosely about his neck looks like that, hanging down.
On my way back now so I can look. Okay. Interesting. Almost looks like two eyes meeting in the middle.
Two interlocking eyes.
Someone chewing ice or something? Oh, it's gone now. Okay.
Was it this?
No, it was like
Oh.
I don't know what it was.
Was it
I
this?
mean, Jody does sometimes, but
It was that.
Oh, it was her bag. I do sometimes, that's true.
Okay.
So that is the symbol that you see hanging about his neck. And you get a set of metallic rings that are interlocking. They're hollow. Not exactly sure. It's
We use one of these. Or regular sugar. One of these.
not exactly sure what that is.
Although nobody drinks it but me, so one will be fine.
Yeah, this tea is for you.
What do you do?
I'm waiting for him to report back, so I don't do anything yet.
I'm going to attempt to steal the amulet.
You're going to attempt to take the amulet off of his neck.
Yes. Because it can be done.
It can be done. All right. Roll. You have to roll me another sleight of hand.
15.
Yeah, no. That one's not going to cut it for him.
I didn't think so.
You-
I was
you
hoping
kind of,
Yeah.
You have inspiration.
I have inspiration. Yeah, I'll use that. Why not?
well, let's see. Let me count
19.
the ways. So
19's better, but not good enough.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's around his
Application
neck.
occurs.
That begins to move, and he instantly grabs with his hand, and because he can feel it, and he holds it down, and he looks, and he sees you. What do you do?
Say, hey, leave me alone. What are you bothering a little kid for?
The strange man touched me.
Hey guys, this man's trying to molest me.
Oh, God.
You see the man's face palm. Go before I do anything.
And I'll move away from him
All right.
quickly.
Wow.
And I will actually go outside, go around the corner, find a dark place. I will pull my hood up. Actually, no, I'd have had the hood up. I'll take the hood down. I will change into a half-elven female, and I will go back and sit down with Seeker.
Okay. Is this a half-elven female that you have used before?
I don't believe I've used this one before, no.
Well, Seeker. Seems
Seeker
to have
kinda
a
looks
higher-
Woman
How are you?
across, and he just says no.
No.
Do you
He
like
stepped
always
down by the wrong
ice
part of
Same
him.
cream or
note
anything?
for me. By the
Yes.
way, that guy has the weirdest amulet.
Oh God, it's you.
Oh,
That's even worse.
you didn't think
Oh,
I'd
wait.
come back as I was.
No, he thought you were
Anyway.
some bar wench trying to proposition him, and he's like, no.
Well, that was the whole goal, to get
Oh,
that
okay.
appearance.
Do you do anything like keeping the eyes the same or anything?
No, the eyes will be green.
So what did you learn?
And I will tell him what I learned.
I
What did I
noticed the
learn?
necklace as well, but I did not
Yeah.
know the symbol. Does that mean anything to me, Jody? That symbol?
Quite possibly. Roll history.
I'm
You were
I
so
will.
close
I will
to
actually
the
draw
order.
the symbol. I'll draw the symbol
Plus
on the table
0.
and with the water from the beer.
17.
Whoa!
Fix looks at female Forsyth and then looks at the
Hi,
drawn
guy.
water symbol. We'll pick up a piece writing implement and like hand it out to him and be like, you know, it's much better if we put it on something that can be taken with us. Here.
Well, okay, but I didn't want to put the paper down in the water. But okay, I'll do that.
Do that now.
Well, the
All right.
parchment was on the table already.
Yes,
Right.
that is true.
That's
So
true,
with the
because I'm
water.
really studying it.
I just look up and start saying, "Can you guys stop shaking the table? I'm trying to read here." I go back to
Speaking
the
of-
reading.
Speaking of
I
which,
didn't even know
I
you
will
could.
Fix grabs
will-
the edge and shakes it more.
I will reach into my pocket and I will pull out a book and open it up in front of my face and start looking through it.
I'm laughing.
so you can ignore everybody around you.
So I'm actually studying.
Oh, Seeker,
Yes.
with a 17.
Yes.
With your interactions with the Order of Truth, because the Zev Guard that you are a part of, works very closely with the Order of Truth. You do recognize this symbol. This symbol is a symbol of the convergence. Convergence? Yes, convergence.
And what, pray tell me that?
They are much like the Order of Truth. However,
You know,
they
it's
Come
cool.
are
together. They converge.
yeah, they are not seeking Numenera necessarily for the benefit of society. They seek Numenera for their own empowerment.
Okay. So, and I'll tell whoever's at the table that's listening, they're part of the order of what I like to call the greedy, selfish bastards, the ones who serve themselves and themselves only. And I say the order of
Convergence.
conversion.
I will slide down my book from in front of my face and close it up
Now, why they have any particular...
slowly and put it on the table and cover my hands over the title.
Now, why they have any particular interest in us is escaping me. But that's who they are. Seeker pointedly did not ask if you got to steal anything off of him. Forsyth, he did not ask.
Right. And I did not offer.
I know. I'm just making a point that I did not ask.
I begin folding up all the papers that are on the table.
Why is she doing that? Do I notice her doing this?
Oh yeah, you'll see it.
What was the name of her book? She had it up in front of her face.
The name of her book it's the one that had the
How to Find
Numenera
Guy
of
Oh,
Numenera Across the Ages.
Numenera Across the Ages. That's right.
Okay. Why are you acting so weird, Evangeline? I mean, more so than usual.
I get very quiet because we have Numenera.
They're not going to take it from us.
I am fairly
Fight.
confident that as long as you're here, they will not take it from us.
Why me in particular?
Because I trust you. I trust you for protection.
Oh, well, you know I don't belong to the Convergence. I belong to the Order.
I do know that. That's also why I trust, part of the reason why I trust you.
Okay. So what are we to do with this Numenera? Please make it abundantly clear, again, that I've said my piece about the certain acquisition we have made recently, and my position has not changed. The decision, though, is not mine to make.
He's still sitting. That's his position.
Numenera can be very powerful. That's why they want it for their own power.
I'm talking about the power of the item that we acquired recently for the
Which
various.
is not Numenera.
It is very dormant.
I beg to differ. Though it is not currently Numenera, once activated, I believe it very much so will be Numenera.
I believe that it very well could be. However, I will look at Seeker and tell him I possess Numenera on my person.
Okay. Is this something that we don't know about?
You know I have this stuff. You just might not know that it was Numenera.
Did you?
And I have been tinkering. And I have reactivated.
Is this Numenera that you transferred the ownership of where it rightfully was to yourself?
Yes,
Much like Forsyth does.
I transferred it off of a dead person to myself.
Okay.
It's more fun when they're live. Honestly.
I do
Stealing from
not.
dead bodies? What?
I do not go around taking things off of people that
You haven't
Fight
murdered
back.
first?
I haven't murdered first.
What is the protocol of the Order then? Is this for to be your own personal use and gain, or are you to return it to them?
The Order is very aware.
Have they instructed you what to do with said Numenera?
I can use it for our protection.
Well, judging by the looks of those two, and he looks at the man and the woman, we're probably going to need it. Be vigilant. I'm sure once we leave here, there'll probably be some sort of ambush or waiting party, or however you want to term it, waiting for us.
As for
Yeah,
talking, I continue folding. I put the papers on top of the book, and I slide everything into my pocket.
The elven female puts an arm across the shoulders of Seeker. And says, I'm
Comfortable with that.
bored. Let's do something.
Yes, remove your arm. That's something we can do.
Fix will start gathering up his own parchments, and he'll look up at the interaction between the female elf and Seeker and be like, what he's saying is he wants you a kiss. A big smooch.
I'll give him a kiss on the cheek real quick, just for the fun of it.
I can make a death check know the hell he does it.
Good luck with that.
Have I noticed any of this?
Yeah,
It's
the
up to
table
you.
is shaking like Madhouse.
So Seeker stands up abruptly and puts a very good sized distance between him and this
I
woman.
will tell Cadeth it's time to put your book away.
Hey, Seeker, can you beat a 23 on Dex?
Let's see.
Maybe.
Freaking leaner. Come on. Oh, I was hoping for a nat 20.
That's what I got.
I
No,
will look
I
at
wanted your
Forsyth.
characters to. I wanted your characters to be friends this time around, but this isn't what I had in mind.
Oh.
I don't think Seeker
Hey.
will allow that. He has too much fun antagonizing my character.
Look
We are having too much fun to be friends. Come on.
I don't know.
Looking-
They're not at each other's throats.
We don't have
Not
time
yet.
for this.
I mean, this is just foreplay apparently.
Well,
Looking
that's
around
life.
the room, does
Foreplay.
Fix see any that he recognizes as friends of his family?
Roll me a perception.
Hey, little girl.
You're not on the best side of town, so friends of your family might be a loose term.
Yes.
Employees, though.
17.
17.
Spies
Okay.
for his family, I think is what he's looking for.
Yeah. You will notice a gentleman, dwarf in size, sitting at the bar that you're pretty sure dark, long, fairly curly hair, a good beard in multiple braids held together. He's kempt pretty well. You've seen him with Gidna before. He doesn't seem to be paying any attention to you guys, though.
So we wish to get out of here, and we're concerned of these people following us. He'll look around to the group.
I could say it would be a certainty.
Okay. Give me a moment. He'll stand up and he'll walk over to the dwarf, and he'll hop up on a chair next to him. And I need to make sure I actually have the language of my race there. I think I do. Yeah, and in Dwarvish he'll say, "How's it going?"
He'll kind of look at you. Let's see if he recognizes you. You've seen him with Gidna, but not that he's seen you. He probably will recognize you a little bit. He'll give you kind of that, I know you from somewhere look. And say, I'm doing well. And yourself? Also in Dwarvish. He'll respond in Dwarvish.
Doing well. Are you still on good terms with Gidna, my sister?
You will see the smile that can't be hidden. He'll say, well, I should hope so.
They got married last week. Oh.
She hasn't punched me lately.
You notice those figures over in that corner?
You're gonna do the, and you're gonna tell him not to look. No, don't look.
Yeah.
He'll kind of glance that direction. He'll say, okay, yeah.
I need them waylaid.
I could do that.
We could have done that.
You have a family resemblance. You're Kofik, aren't you?
That I am.
All right. Well, it is good to meet you again, Kofik.
You as well. And he hands out he puts out his hand. And I apologize. What was your name?
That's what I'm pulling up.
I
Is
figured.
his name? Because I knew you were gonna ask.
A second.
He was trying to stall.
I am Galthard.
Galfarn. Well, I
Galthard.
appreciate your assistance.
Absolutely.
Have fun.
See, I will. And you can see him. He kind of gets a little smirk on his face. And he takes a drink. And when he sets it down, he kind of does it like a tap, tap, slide, tap, and takes another drink and sets it down.
Uh-oh. He's in the code. Uh-oh. We're playing a drinking game.
It's no game.
And then he sits there. He waits.
Nods his head. Fix will put a gold coin or two up on the bar for your drinks. And then he'll head back over the table and says, I think we can depart now.
All right. I have
He
no idea.
just-
Seeker has no idea what you did. He just says, all right.
As Seeker gets up, Forsyth, female elf, gets up and takes her hands and holds onto his arm as he walks.
Just
Playing
stewing
it up.
in rage. Stewing. He's so
Just
mad. he
wait
can't
till you
even
get
talk.
outside.
As I get up from the table, I will slide my hand into that pocket.
Which pocket?
It's actually a pocket on my vest. It is on the right side on my hip. It's the largest pocket on my vest.
I haven't picked it yet?
Nope, you haven't picked it yet.
Give me time.
And I will just leave it there.
Okay.
But I will. You can see my hand will do this. You could kind of see
Not
that.
giving
in the
a
pocket.
peace sign.
No. I'm
it's
also
like
not
I'm in
giving
the
the read between the fingers
You're
sign.
one- Never mind.
All right, so you guys gather your things, you put it together, you get ready to leave the inn.
Mhm.
You hear, and you can see out the corner of your eye, there are two people in the corner that seem to be, the voices are raising, argument is ensuing, you can hear glasses slamming, like there's going to be an all-out brawl.
Hey, damn it, I'm not staying.
It's a good time for us to get ourselves out of here.
So
Yeah.
Seeker is very pointedly putting his shield on the arm that Forsyth girl is trying to hold on to. Just
Hey. What kind of girl you think I am?
As
an unwanted one.
Yeah,
I-
Fix would start heading out, though. Like right as they're about to leave, and as before he steps out of view from the our pursuers or our spies or whatever, he'll kind of look back and make eye contact with them and give them a wink.
Oh, now you're enticing them. Well, as you guys leave, an all-out brawl kind of breaks out, and you can see Galthorn. He is at the door, like literally pushing just about anybody who comes through back into the tavern as an all-out brawl just breaks out.
That is awesome.
You guys head out into the street and you make a swift turn and duck between some buildings and whatnot. Get out of view in case they manage to get out of the tavern. Where do you go?
I will pull my hand from my pocket now.
Well, my room was at that tavern, right?
Well, that's the tavern you guys said you were going to.
We didn't get rooms yet, right?
We had them
Mhm.
from
I-
before.
Nick
Have
had
rooms.
some from before, but
But it's better to lead these guys away from the tavern.
Okay.
Easily go back to my temple or whatever if we need to.
Happily do that, but I'm not going back to fix his house.
Right. We can go towards it, but not to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could go to the order. I'm sure I have accommodations there. I don't know how many.
so to give you an idea, Kadeth's temple is on the southeastern side of the city. It is across the river from the main part of the city. The main part of the city, your order, is literally the next neighborhood over from the Tennyson's residence. So just to kind of give you an idea of where the layout of that city is. How far do you want to be from Fix's mother while you guys discuss this stuff?
Right.
Kadeth's temple is about as far as you can get. Your order is about as close as you can get, and you can go anywhere in between.
we'd be right under their noses.
I'm gonna ask-
to Death's temple.
I'm gonna ask Fix. Got any good dark alleys we can fit into and just wait for these guys? Lead them to it?
I don't frequent dark alleys.
But you would know where they are, right?
Jody,
You've been
Seeker's
around.
looking for a tail. If
What?
we're being tailed. Seeker's looking to see if we're being tailed.
Okay. Roll me perception.
Perception. That is a 19 altogether.
Okay.
19. Oh wait,
you're
everybody
looking-
together.
As you're turning some corners and whatnot, and you're kind of keeping an eye for anybody who might be repetitively showing up, and you're not seeing anybody following you from
I
what you can
think
tell.
we're clear, but I don't know if any of you that are better at noticing that sort of thing have been looking. I don't see anything.
Forsyth will take a look around, but he doesn't see anything. His
Yeah, not
intent
with
is
the
on the
knife.
seeker.
That's because
Perception
you're trying to
is
find
not my
that dark
forte.
alley. Forsyth, you probably know just as many dark alleys in this area, like just streetwise, because you're streetwise.
Yeah.
You could probably find some dark alleys, probably
Alright,
even
I'm
better
gonna-
than Fix in this part of the city.
All right. Then I will lead us to the nearest really good dark alley,
Okay.
and I will revert form in that dark
Alright.
alley.
All right. So I have a vote for Kadeth's Temple. The Seeker.
I'll start heading that way.
I will follow Kadeth.
I will hold back to knowing where they're going. I will hold back to watch our tail.
And I'm still
will-
looking for more
We
tails.
will we will follow Kadeth as well and Seeker.
All right. I'm assuming you too, Fix.
Fix looks a bit hesitant, but eventually does.
Okay. All right. You
I'm
head
good on my own, guys.
you head to the order. Kadeth, you've been here before. I don't remember if I gave you the name of the headmaster here or whatever.
I don't know if you. I think you did, but I don't remember it.
Okay. All right. Well, I will just call him headmaster at the moment. Invites you back in and says, "Oh, you have company. It's late. Are you needing rooms for the evening?"
Yes, we have 5 of us.
All right. I'm sure we can accommodate that. Even if you want your own rooms, we probably have enough for that.
I would appreciate it. And somewhere where we might sit and discuss things in private and do some studying. There's been some interesting things revealed to us recently.
We can definitely make
Bless you.
arrangements for that.
Thank you.
He will show you the rooms. They're all in the same hallway. There's multiple rooms. Easily, any 5 you want. Or you can double up if you want to double up. Then he will take you to a library. It's not a huge library. Single story. There's several shelves. But in the back of this library is definitely a large area where there's a table, several chairs around the table. It definitely looks like an area that group study occurs. You know, people lay out parchments, maps, etc., and they confer with one another. He says this is the best place that we have in the temple, and I can ensure that you are not disturbed, if that is your wish.
That would be appreciated. Thank you.
One thing you can't say for me is that I'm not disturbed.
We have enough disturbances of our
Or
own.
disturbing.
Oh wait, but I'm not with you guys.
No, the disturbed one will be along shortly. Oh.
The disturbed one will be along.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
way to put it.
Gotcha. All right, I will. What is his name? Or her name? He'll ask, who am I expecting?
Its name is Forsyth.
Forsyth. Got it. And he
And he has a
will
lot of
leave
it.
and he will close the doors behind him. And you have the entire library to yourself.
Well, I'll go sit back down and keep reading. Have I learned anything so far? While we were at the-
I don't know. You're getting a little bit of a headache from trying to read a shaking book.
Oh, yeah, I was reading fine for a little while at least.
You have learned a little bit that there's mention of a champion, because you're kind of honing in on the Raven Queen, I'm sure. There was a champion of the Raven Queen that wielded a blade, a longsword. There was a lot of destruction in his wake for several years, until the Third Age, where he seemed to have disappeared.
Does it describe the sword at all?
It will describe the blade as being a strong blade with the appearance of lightness. It looks like it's a light blade, like it's easy to wield. It's not very heavy to somebody who
Finesse
just
weapon.
looks at it. But it is a strong blade. It will describe the blade with marks of the Raven Queen, feathers, feathers on the guard, and obsidian embellishment.
Okay, so not quite the same as the one we've got, but similar, basically.
Well, I mean, given this oral tradition and the sword that you have seen, could be describing that blade, or one that's similar to it.
I will talk about it with Fix, kind of show him the passage and, at least tell him about what's in there. Because I did mention to him earlier that there was another blade that I was interested in that's similar. So,
And did Kadeth tell about the portion where it talks about the Raven Queen securing her position of power by using what was it, Valsharun's undead army?
How much do you share about that, Kadeth?
I would
Undead is almost completely unheard of these days,
right.
except for ghosts. The occasional ghost.
I would share it with Fix.
So it wouldn't be completely outside the realm of possibilities that she also took his blade. and that storytellers simply embellished it with her own flair. But that's just a theory.
There's definitely a lot to think about,
Yeah.
consider with this.
So we still don't
At
have an
this,
answer.
not quite. Fix will actually, at this point, he'll look to Kadeth and he says, should we be concerned about privacy here?
In this place, no.
He'll take the blade out and lay it on the table.
Forsyth would have waited about a half an hour to see if anyone was following.
Okay. You do not see
Make his
anybody that seems to be following, and you begin to make your way there.
Sneakily.
Sneakily. You can roll me stealth if you'd like.
Would it matter?
I don't think so. Probably
Okay.
not.
Well,
Nobody's following you.
yeah, 13 is good enough then.
Yep, that's good enough.
So as the blade comes out, I'll reach up and slide my goggles down.
Okay.
I run a finger around the edge of it. I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
All right. All right. As you detect magic, the room itself seems to emanate a bit of magic, but the blade itself doesn't seem to be emanating any magic.
I'm not worried.
It's
Well,
very inert.
I will look at the blade, but I'm actually looking at the room.
Oh, at the room? Okay. The room itself is emanating a bit of magic. It's more of an abjuration magic, a warding in essence. And looking around the room, you will see a few books scattered throughout the shelves that also emanate magic. You're assuming they're probably books of rituals, possibly spells, things of that nature.
I will take my 10 minutes to scour around the room. I will check the titles of the book to see if it's anything I'm interested in. Interested in reading, not interested in taking. I'm not a thief.
Thank goodness much.
I'm not either, technically.
Technically speaking.
So
That's the question. Does Forsyth have to pay homage to the Thieves Guild if he's thieving while not a thief?
He would if
Not
he's
the
in
Thieves
right.
Guild so much as it's like Fagin type of character.
I don't
He's
know.
not a member of the Thieves Guild, though. If the Thieves Guild caught word of it,
there could
There
be.
might
They might
be-
take a hand.
there could be
Yeah,
repercussions.
That's
Well-
a certain.
While Evangeline is looking around, Fix will look at Kadeth and he'll kind of take a breath and he's like, well, if I die, it was nice knowing you. And he takes a deep breath and he reaches forward and he just grabs the sword.
All
By
right,
the hilt,
you
by
grab-
the actual handle. Like, not by the
You don't
blade.
grab the blade?
Yes, no.
You cut yourself.
Ow!
All right, you grab it by the hilt. It is surprisingly lighter than you anticipate, but it is a long sword. You pick it up and you do. It seems like the longer you hold it, the hotter it seems to get.
Did Evangeline tell us that she was doing detect magic?
Technically, you would have seen me to do detect magic before. You would probably know that's exactly what I'm doing.
As I feel it getting hotter, I'd call her over.
All right. You have a book in hand as you walk over.
Anything
You're looking at it, and it doesn't. There's a very, very faint glow to it. I mean, almost nothing. It's like a candle from 20 feet away. Like, it's almost nothing.
But it wasn't there before.
It definitely wasn't there before. But you can see that it's super faint, almost like it's trying to spark just a little bit, per se, like it's trying to come to life, but there's resistance somewhere. It's resistance.
He takes a moment and he casts.
I will let you know what I saw.
Okay. He'll try to cast Bless onto the sword itself.
Okay, you have blessed the sword.
Okay, I didn't know if it would do anything.
I don't know that it would do anything. No.
As I'm watching it, it's maintaining that just.
Yeah. That blade's starting to get kind of hot.
I'm a smith. It's okay.
Dick, perhaps you should set the sword back down. Let's try something different.
Hey, Kadeth, here. He'll hand the sword towards Kadeth.
I'll go ahead and take it.
You take it?
Yeah. Let's see how it feels in my hand as just a long sword in itself first.
It might be hot. He'll say it might be hot here.
You take it. It's not hot to you. You take it. It's a little lighter than your sword. And you kind of, do you just hold it or do you kind of play with it a little bit?
I'll move it around as though, in like practice movements kind of thing.
Okay.
What man grabs a sword and doesn't play with it a little bit? Come on.
Well, I just got to ask. You were very curious about the sword.
I mean, I got to see
it
how
might
the
be like
balance
a-
is.
I don't know. When I pick up the sword, I play with it. And I
Right.
ain't a man.
I'll see how the balance is, from
I just wanted to check.
since I use a sword, I would check it, based
And I'm
on what I
watching-
know of swords.
That's why I asked him and not you, because he uses a long sword. So.
I'm still watching for that.
I mean,
Whoa.
Fix starts weaving it around. I'm gonna be like, whoa, 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 whoa!
Hey, whoa,
You're gonna hurt yourself.
somebody.
No,
No,
that's why
you're
he
gonna
didn't
hurt
try.
yourself.
You kind of pick it up. It does not get hot to you. Matter of fact, it's a little cool to you.
Interesting.
You kind of wield it around a little bit, and the longer that you hold it, the more you feel the grip of that sword just kind of form to your hand. The hilt just seems to form to your hand. Evangeline, you see that shimmer of magic on it? Only this time it's starting to spark, and it's lighting up. And
It is
seems to be
definitely responding to you, Kadeth, more than Fix.
I am noticing a response from it. Interestingly, it seems to almost want me to hold it. In a way, that's the best I
You're
can
just
describe it.
watching, thoroughly engrossed.
It's not talking to you, is it?
No, it
Just
has
checking.
not spoken to me as of yet.
not yet anyway.
But I will, like, under my breath, utter a quick prayer to the Raven Queen, basically to reveal anything that she could about this, if possible.
Can I do
Revelia,
an- Can I do an Arcana check
Sure, on the sword.
for any knowledge of, other than I see this magic, but any knowledge of what may be happening? If I know.
Sure. Seeker, what was your question?
I said Revelio.
Revelio. And it
19.
with
19. Okay.
and then with it responding the way it is to me, does anything stand out either from the book I'm reading or previous knowledge about swords that have done this kind of things?
Nothing that you have read indicates that this is like the same sword or anything. There's no knowledge of that.
Well, right, but like any other swords that have been mentioned with that react like this to anybody?
Yeah, no, you don't recall reading anything in that regards. However, Kadeth, when you whisper a prayer for knowledge or revelation on the sword, you will hear inside your mind, you will hear an audible sigh, a sigh of relief.
I just mutter, interesting.
Now I'm
Eventually,
talking to
you
you.
rolled a 19 on the Arcana of how it's responding to Kadeth. It seems to be for lack of a better wordage, mechanically speaking, it seems to be attuning to Kadeth. Not Kadeth to it, but it to Kadeth.
I definitely share that with Kadeth.
Yes, there's definitely more here than meets the eye. Transformers.
There's more than meets the eye.
Well, Megatron, be careful.
Megatron.
So,
Because it didn't like Decepticon over there.
Right.
Decepticon.
I want to, just because I want to try something and see what happens. Well, yeah, for the moment, I'm going to cast Borrowed Knowledge on myself
Okay.
to temporarily give myself proficiency in investigation. Just to cast some kind of spell and see if there's any reaction from the sword when I cast the spell.
You feel, as you cast the spell, you feel a vibration in your hand while you're holding the sword. You feel the sword kind of vibrate.
Does it seem to be acting like it wants to be a focus of power or something like that?
I have a question.
Like a spell focus?
About the Raven Queen. Here.
Okay.
If this is over the under the table, I need to talk to the GM. Is the Raven Queen in
Player
your campaign?
question. Got it.
Player Raven question. Queen in your campaign, have you modified her from the Raven Queen?
Quite possibly I've modified her a little bit.
At least somewhat.
Because the symbol of life, the symbol of death, the beginning, the end.
I mean, she's all about
matches the Raven
dying
Queen.
when they should. That's one of her big things, is people dying when they should.
Not everybody does that.
I think this is a situation like Harry Potter's wand. You don't choose the sword; the sword chooses you.
The sword chooses you.
I'm going to look around the group And
Falco had a really nice sword.
I'm going to ask and make sure that I look to everyone before I really do anything. Would any of you object to me asking the master at this temple about this sword? If so, I won't do it. If any of you have a problem with that.
I didn't.
I think that
I'm
would be
not
a
as
wise
invested.
idea.
Yeah, about this time you're probably getting there, Forsyth.
Fix?
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be better to ask the riddle woman.
That would be awesome. But she is all the way back in wow, my brain just went dead. The other city.
Right.
Thrice, yeah. She's in Thrice, and that's quite a ways away.
Too bad we don't have the power to teleport people like the gods.
No, and the most I can do is a simple 25-word message once a day at the moment. And
he's
that
already
is,
used up for day.
Yeah.
For today.
I've already done that once today, so
You will hear a knocking at the door.
Keep on knocking, but you can't come in. No.
I'm gonna set the sword back into the thing we had it wrapped in on the table. I'll leave it on the table for now, but at least wrap it up since I haven't gotten a complete confirmation from Fix yet.
All right. If nobody answers the door within like a couple of minutes, the door will open.
I'm gonna look at the book. And what kind of book am I holding?
You're holding Rituals of Communion.
Okay.
Is the name of the book. Rituals of Communion.
To Kadath because we're in Kadath's place to answer the door. So that's
Well,
why I moved.
Yeah, after I wrapped up the sword, I would go over and open the door.
It's the headmaster. He didn't want to barge in because he wanted privacy. So you open the door. It's the headmaster, and he kind of steps aside and he shows Forsyth. You know, this is where they are. You see Forsyth walk in.
Somebody followed us, guys. He just says that, blurts that out.
And I'll look back at Fix and see if there's any kind of confirmation from Fix one way or the other. Just giving you an eyebrow.
Fix will say, invite him in, but wait.
Very well. Master, would you mind joining us for a few minutes?
Certainly. Anything I can help you with? He walks in. He follows you.
Possibly.
Fix looks at him and he says, are you aware of the Jagged Edge operating in your very city? Like, just straight up.
We are aware of the Jagged Edge.
Is it accurate that they cause chaos to bring about change?
That would be accurate.
And you're okay with this?
If that brings balance, we are okay with it. When they upset the balance, we are not okay with it.
So your allegiance is wishy-washy.
At best.
Our allegiance
is not to the Jagged Edge.
It's not to the Jagged Edge. Our allegiance is to the Raven Queen, who seeks balance in all things. If they go and cause a disruption in the flow of nature or choose to meet the end of someone whom we have been told to protect or something of that nature, or attempt to meet the end They do see a resistance from us. However, sometimes chaos is necessary to restore the balance. I have never seen her on that desk.
Oh.
She's exploring.
Well, that's Evangeline. She's new here. Of course you haven't. Oh.
Stop dancing on the tables, Evangeline.
Evangeline is taking all of this in, and she's looking at the book in her hand, and she's going to put it back on the shelf.
Without even opening it.
Fix looks to Cadet and says,
She was going this way towards the gods, but now she's going back this way.
Like, oh, no, nothing.
Maybe Fix is right. Gods are wishy-washy.
Or maybe we just don't understand
Science
them.
is solid.
Fix looks to Cadet and just no tone of malice or anything, just sort of statement of fact. He says, he seems very indecisive and impotent, but feel free to share.
I think I can explain that to you later, but that's a conversation
He
for
just
another
stands there.
time.
He doesn't seem to take any offense to it. He's like, okay.
We can certainly discuss that later, Fix. I may be able to shed some light on that. Very well, though. And I will go over to the table and unwrap the sword. Do I know what class this guy is? Like, is he a priest? Is he
most likely a cleric?
Most likely a cleric. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Most likely a cleric. He will step over to the sword and he will eye it. Like, he will scan over it a couple of times. And each time he scans over it, he gets a little bit more serious.
And I'll go ahead and pick it up. And see what his reaction is to me picking it up.
He watches. He's kind of serious at the moment, and he's watching. And
I'm gonna hand it over to him and tell him we recently ran across this sword, doing a job for someone, but I don't want to necessarily go into the specifics of that. But it was suspended above a pedestal with a magical field around it. When the sword was removed from the magic field, everyone here received a vision, apparently different ones that were very personalized. So obviously there's some trepidation about this sword. But it seems to like me, for lack of a better word. I'm curious if you have any knowledge of anything such as this in the past.
There. Are you expecting him to take the sword?
If he takes it, it's fine. If he doesn't, that's fine. It's more of I'm presenting it if he wants to take it.
He is not taking it.
Okay.
Unless you literally hand him the hilt as if, you're like, hey, check this out.
I'm holding it kind of sideways.
Presenting, then no, he's definitely not going to take it. He will look at you, look at the sword, look at you. It looks much like the oral traditions of the sword of the first champion.
That's what I have come to understand in the past, really only in the last hour or so, just how much it's similar. But it's not the same one as far as I can tell. It may actually be slightly older than that.
Oral traditions can be flawed
Very true.
in their details.
And I'll
Like Fix
actually
just interjects himself into it.
yeah, no. And seeing that he's not going to take it, I'll set it back on the table and I'll open the book up to that part where it describes the one part that I found in there.
He will read through that. He will confirm that, yes, this sounds like it would be of the same make.
And I will ask about the first champion. Was he during the second world? According to your legends?
He was during the third world.
As far as we know, this sword was probably made during the second world, right?
It's possible.
That's what is believed.
Because of
he will kind of walk away. He'll say, "Give me a moment." He will walk away. You'll see him kind of disappear in the book somewhere, and then he comes back with another book. It's not really a book. It's more of like a bunch of parchments that have just been sewn together. And he will lay it down, and he will open it up very gently to a drawing. This drawing is like super old. The parchment itself, especially Fix and Evangeline, you'll know for sure. Kadeth, you can tell that this is very old. But Fix and Evangeline, you do a lot with parchment, writing on parchment and various other things. You can tell this parchment is fairly brittle. It's super old. But there is a drawing, an etch on one of those parchments of a sword that looks almost identical to that. The only difference is the hilt just ended in a steel ball as opposed to being fanned out with the obsidian. That is the only difference between the drawing and the sword in your hand. Other than that,
I'm going to ask him, do you know what period this parchment is from?
The parchment itself, I believe, is from the fourth world.
Interesting.
We keep it here in the library. It does not come out often. It's hardly ever.
I looked over at Kadeth and said, I've done a lot of studying. Fourth world to second world. This is probably as close at this point as we can get to accuracy.
That makes sense.
For these swords. And looking, given the difference is only those obsidian pieces, it could simply be that the artist rendered the drawing the best he knew of. And I will look at everybody. We could be looking at a second or third world artifact.
So, question. Knowing Fix is a smith of sorts, would he know how difficult it would be to rehilt a blade? Or to change the hilt of a blade like this?
It being, after looking at it, because you guys kind of looked it over pretty good, you know it is one piece. And so to redo the hilt, just the hilt, would not be too terribly difficult for a master smith. without harming the blade at all. You could redo the hilt. It is feasible to just do, like if you're talking about the difference between the ball versus the fan kind of thing, to just
Right.
do that portion would be feasible.
And the drawing, does it have the symbols?
The drawing does have symbols on it.
Do they match?
They don't match exactly, no. But you can see that the symbols, they kind of lay out in an archaic language. Most of you are learned here. It is an archaic language with these symbols, and you will be able to make out that these symbols basically says maintain balance in life and death.
Are we all privy to these questions and such that are being asked?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're all there.
Yeah.
You're hearing this, yeah.
Wouldn't it stand to reason that the landscape of any given age or world, whatever it's in, would be predicated, the need would be predicated, the various runes that would be generated would be predicated upon the situation at hand to maintain the balance. The same thing that's required to maintain the balance in age 1, for example, is not going to be the same circumstances in age 6, as an example. So though they might not match up, they were necessary for the time in which you're looking at, and the symbols that exist now are necessary for the time now. Is that safe to assume?
One could assume that, indeed.
Not far off. That makes sense.
I'm gonna look at the headmaster. Have you heard tell of at any point or rumor of how the Raven Queen herself came into power?
Not sure exactly. We believe it was just an ascension. We don't know how she ascended. There's no documents of that. Probably mostly because, well, let's face it, the gods probably don't want anybody else to try.
While he's talking, I'm going to start flipping through the book to that part about her with the
Okay.
undead army.
He'll read it.
I'll
Say,
just
well,
hand it to him, say, tell me what you think of this.
He will take a moment to read it, and I'll let you know, because we're going to take a break. I don't have anything to drink. My throat is dry, and I'm sure other people need to, take a bio break. So, so I will let you know that right after we get back from break.
All right, then I will make that change real quick and start us on. Do you want to do what? 6-minute break, 5-minute break? What are you looking at?
5 minutes is good. 5 minutes. See you in 5. Okay. Yeah, I can do this on this computer. I'm going to take you with me so I can get a drink.
2. And we're back.
All right. We are back. All right.
Yay!
Yay! All right. The headmaster, after taking a moment to read the book and read what it says about there, kind of gets a little. The Raven Queen, and he starts talking to you. The Raven Queen does not like the undead. It is unnatural. It is not the order of life. When one dies, they are meant to pass on. That is the natural order of things. However, to use the undead to gain her seat among the gods and goddesses, considering the realm in which she rules. I can't say I'm too surprised.
It took a second to process, but I would have to agree. And I believe in most circumstances, yes, she would say that the undead should be left dead, but they can be useful at times when the situation calls for it.
Fix looks at Evangeline, wishy-washy.
More like hokum.
Looks back to Kadath and the Grandmaster and says, "No, go, continue. This is fascinating."
So, with regards to this particular sword, there's a few interesting things that we've already been able to figure out. One is that it doesn't seem to display any kind of specific magical abilities, per se. When my companions have tried to detect magic on it, I'll let Evangeline tell you what she was able to see.
When viewing the sword just on the table, it does not seem to imbibe any magic in it whatsoever. However, when Fix held the sword, it began to ever so slightly glow.
And it tried to burn me.
And to
And it
fix
tried
it
to burn
was
him.
getting slightly warmer.
Okay.
However,
Susan.
when Kadath held the sword, he did not complain of it getting hot.
No, in fact, it was quite cool to the touch.
And the magic became greater, even to the point when he began to do things with it, it began to spark.
And at one point, I said a quick prayer to the Raven Queen, and I heard just a sigh in my mind,
And it seemed
which seems odd.
that the sword was becoming attuned to Kadath.
And it was certainly the handle of it, the grip, was almost conforming to my hand.
Clearly, it seems it was not made for Fix, but more so for you.
I don't know that it was necessarily made for me, but
However-
maybe for
its wielder.
maybe
Should I-
for those of a certain proclivity.
Yes.
Of wishy-washiness.
Wishy-washy.
No, wishy-washy.
I'll just
Which-
grin at Nix.
Is when I became enlightened to the fact that perhaps it needed a follower of this Raven Queen.
Perhaps.
Is the sword back on the table?
At the moment, yeah.
Fix walks over and wraps it up and says, well, I've made my decision. And he wraps it up and he picks it up and he says, I'm going to give it away. And he walks over to Kadath and he says, it is yours. I want nothing to do with it. I have no more claim to it. And that's my decision.
Besides, it burns.
For all
What
intents
about
and purposes, with your family, we were unable to locate the sword that he will now be wielding.
I'm not going to lie. For our employer, I will let them know that I made a decision and they will have to deal with it, accept it or not.
I'm going to look around for confirmation from the other three before I really accept it in any manner.
I have
I
no
will-
skin in it. I don't care.
I
Just say,
will-
what do you
I
guys?
will look at you straight up without even a hesitation and say I didn't want to give it to his mother in the first place. No, actually, I will use the words "our employer."
Okay, I was going to say that's going to take more extra explaining if you say his mother.
Got more explaining to do. No, I will use the term. Didn't think it should be given to the our employer to begin with.
I was hesitant myself. What do you say, Seeker?
No strange vision when either of you grasped the hilt.
No vision, merely the sigh when I uttered the prayer to the Raven Queen.
So was it a sigh of exasperation, a sigh of ecstasy, a sigh of sadness?
What kind of sigh was it?
It was a sigh of relief. She
Relief.
said so.
A relief? It was a sigh of relief.
Forsyth goes hanging on Seeker and he's already talking about ecstasy.
Could it be that the rest of us might want
Don't
to try
egg it
holding
on.
it and seeing how it reacts to us?
No. Fix just said that outright. No.
No.
Now, jealousy does not become you.
I don't think it's a matter of jealousy. However,
I already tried it. I don't.
I have no issue with each of you picking it up and seeing what reaction it has to you. It may actually give us more insight into its nature.
If Forsyth picks it up, it might disappear.
Oh, it won't disappear.
My pockets aren't that deep.
It's as big as he is.
I will tell you that if you need me to hold it or desire for me to hold it for insight, I will do so.
Seeker
I have
walks
no
over and
desire
picks it
to
up.
keep it.
You pick it up?
I just walk over and pick it up for this experiment. So
Okay. You
I have
pick it up.
no intention of keeping it.
Right. You pick it up, and it's instantly you feel that it's a little bit lighter than what you expect a longsword to be. You're a soldier, you know kind of weaponry. You know, it's a little lighter than what you would expect it to be. You could see that it could be used fairly effectively. However, the longer you hold it, the hotter it gets.
Heat for me, and I put it back on the table.
And I will pick it up and do the same thing.
Okay, you pick it up, and at first it feels like it's lighter, but all of a sudden it just weighs a ton in your hands, and you're gonna slam it onto the ground if you don't put it back down.
I will put it hurriedly back on the table
Heavy.
and tell you of the different response that I got. It's not my sword.
That's very interesting.
Forsyth will pick it up and contemplate whether to pocket it, but decide against it.
You
For now.
won't get very far because you pick it up, and at first it seems a little light, but it gets really heavy all of a sudden, and you have to put it down.
It ain't heavy, it's a bother.
Faith. Vic states.
Sure. Cadet.
It's faith and
Wow.
connection with the gods.
Hold on. I have no doubt there, but consider the implications. Fix picks it up and it gets hot. I pick it up and get hot. Evangeline picks it up, it gets heavy. Forsyth picks it up, it gets heavy. Let's think of the implications of that.
We are of the
What?
wrong faith to hold it, and they are of no faith, so it is a burden.
I'm beholden to no god. I don't even believe in the gods.
And neither
I believe
I'm
in the
sure
earth.
Forsyth does. Unless that god name is coin. But
And I'm going to say that is a curious supposition. I think there may be one way to determine if it's completely correct, and I'll just look at the headmaster.
indulge us, headmaster, please.
And he'll turn it and present the hilt to him.
All right. The headmaster will take the sword, and he will lift it. He's not very adept at long swords. Long swords is not his weapon of choice. And it's fairly light. He says it is light, and he kind of swings it around a little bit. Your detect magic, I'm assuming, is still going.
Uh-huh.
There's a very faint glow, but it ain't sparking. It's just a solid glow that's very faint. Like, okay, fine. And he's like,
Cadet?
Yeah.
I will look at Cadet. Cadet,
I
for
still put it
whatever
back
reason,
down.
this sword responds to you.
It's very interesting.
And if it belonged to this Raven Queen, and she's had a champion in the past, and this is his sword, or her sword, for whatever reason, your Raven Queen seems to have chosen for you to have it.
Your name is Pikachu.
I choose you, Pikachu.
Kadath Pikachu.
It could
No, it doesn't really have a ring to it.
Pika Kadath.
Kadathachu.
Pikachu.
That's a cheat.
Or it could be as simple as the fact that a blade wishes to be the hands of a warrior and not a indecisive,
A
impotent
tinkerer.
librarian.
I am not.
There are times that I really
Use
question my
the
intelligence fix.
use the blade wisely, Kada.
And
May it not be on your friends.
Except for maybe that one.
one would hope.
And Vix looks at him like, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but your methodology seems impotent to me. Not you impotent. Oh, you thought, oh, no, I wasn't talking about, no, I have no desire to know about that. Forsyth might, maybe, but not me. Like, he has this persona thing going on. So, but no, not like that.
Fix, foot, mouth.
Disease.
And I'll ask him, if how it responded to him. Like, was it cool? Was it warm?
Neither. It was just a long sword. It's a little
Just a
lighter than
long-edged
I've
sword.
had long swords before, but
Interesting.
Okay.
Well-
I
Just wanna celebrate.
am going to make an assumption or possibly hit the truth. If you want me to roll some kind of check, you can certainly do that to see if I'm accurate. Hot, hot, heavy, heavy. Felt like a nice long sword.
The sword's getting hot and heavy.
It sounds like a bad porn.
I figured I would continue in this, direction that we're heading with the whole impotence and whatnot.
All your fault, Fix.
continue.
I mean, okay.
It is
This ain't mine this
responding
time.
to Kadeth. The only two here who did not have adverse reactions to this sword were
Raven Queen worshippers.
Raven Queen worshippers,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yes.
librarian and Kadeth. My intelligence tells me that this sword that you're looking for that belongs to your Raven Queen, given the time period that we're looking at, I'm thinking you may have found your sword. And it definitely has chosen you. I guess according to somebody who believes in a god, your god has chosen you to have this sword.
I would certainly agree with the second part of that it seems to have chosen me. Whether it's the sword I have been seeking for many years now and researching, I am not 100% convinced, but I think that is something that will be revealed in time.
You do realize our employer will probably come for us despite the familial bonds that exist.
We will try not to kill them.
No, I'm saying they're going to come for us.
Yes,
Perhaps.
but do we have anything else that needs done in this city?
I highly suggest we find things to do in other cities far, far away from here.
I was going to suggest
Far
heading
away.
back. I was going to suggest heading back to Thrice
You can go
because
far, far away and see Farquhar.
I may be able to get more answers and more insight there.
So we take us rest and go immediately. My
Well,
vote.
I
Yeah.
need to say farewell to my family.
Do you?
Yes.
you?
I think it would be
He could say farewell to his family. It could be an opportunity to keep them from following us maybe straight away in mass numbers.
I'm going to make a prediction. I hope I'm wrong. He will go to say farewell to his family. He will be held hostage in exchange for the sword, and I will be there to say I told you so.
I would much rather they think that I made a decision to go against their desires than that I was he looks at Forsyth, simply a thief that ran with their goods.
Oh, nothing simple about me.
Well, I'm going to
Not
find a
denying
room to
the thief
sleep.
part.
I am.
Room to sleep. Let's not do anything until tomorrow.
All right, so you take the rest of the evening.
Do we get the full rest?
You will get a full rest in this temple. You are
Hey.
protected in this temple. You will get a full rest. You will have the library to your usage. You will have some training grounds to your usage. You can do whatever you feel your character needs to do to reach level 4 in this temple.
Sleep. I slept. Power nap.
Power nap.
Likewise, I
Wow.
prefer.
I'll be looking through. I'm probably not going to sleep much. Like I feel like I may not even get. Not like I'll get a full rest, but I'll be studying until I go to sleep, basically. Looking through any other documents they might have on the sword, on that time, that era. Looking through this book some more to see if I find anything else.
All right.
And I will look for any sort of book that is telling me about and explaining to me who the Raven Queen is.
And I actually would ask Fix to make a copy of the drawing of the sword that he had pulled out.
Which, by the way, even though I said I picked up everything off of the table and put it away quick, I would have given his drawings back to him.
I figured as much because Fix was also picking things up.
Yeah.
And
my goal was to get it out of sight fast.
Yeah. Fix would make a copy of the rubbing, as well as his notes and annotations.
Okay.
And one thing I'll suggest to Fix is that we can leave the books here, and my order can see that they're returned to the library. Any that we don't need to take with us.
I'm not done reading this one. He says
that's fine.
Book of Symbols.
We can always send it back at a later date.
Yeah.
But any that we don't need any longer, they can return for us. We have Hey Boys for that.
There are message boys, Pony Express, whatever you want to call them. Let's go from town to town. Books on the Raven Queen. I mean, you name it. It has something to do with the Raven Queen. Because that's mostly what this library is something to do with the Raven Queen. You will read on the Raven Queen that she is, from the books that you've gathered, you've gathered that she is very neutral. She does not take a good side. She does not take an evil side. There are times that you have seen her displayed, such as what Kadeth read, taking the undead army and basically claiming her right into godhood. There are times that she is portrayed as evil, death, destruction, wiping out. It's kind of like burning the forest, she just wipes things out. And then there are other times where she is portrayed as being all good, protection of life, rebirth, bringing about the newness of the forests and things like that. And she has worked with several, from which you can read kind of in there, she is interconnected with a lot of the old gods, both good and evil. She is very neutral, and it is kind of, and you can liken it to nature, it's very much of that burning the forest or that controlled burn so that it doesn't go out of control later kind of thing. It's definitely, there's an ebb and a flow to it. There's definitely an aspect almost of fate to her.
Okay.
How come Drow High Magic is not available as a feat in D&D Beyond?
I have no idea.
Huh?
I'll have to add that on because I don't have all of Xanathar's.
Oh, you don't have all of Xanathar's?
That's fine.
Okay.
Well, that's what the feat I want to take when I can.
I'll look at it this week.
I made Jody enter the feat that I wanted to take.
That's because it came out of
I should be able to get that. It should.
Thank you.
I'll figure it out this week, though.
Yeah, it's probably like, what, $2 add-on or something?
Yeah, $1, $2. It's hard to say. I'll see what the best way to do it is.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Kindly.
All right. Oh, you were studying up on the book, right, Kadeth? You were studying up on what you
Yeah.
could find of the sword.
I'll see if I can
Okay.
find anything else in there on the sword.
You find mostly mentions of the sword in relation to the champions. It was lost, believing to have been lost at the end of the Third World when that champion disappeared. That champion's name was Tarek. And it just was lost. That nobody really knew what happened to it. But prior to that, Terric, Terric. And it was lost after that. And nobody really knows what happened to it when he disappeared. At least from what they can tell as far as the stories and things like that. Prior to that, you do believe that, or there is belief that another gentleman by the name of Corin did carry the sword initially and aided the Raven Queen alongside the battles of the gods, basically, and helped to maintain the Raven Queen's position among the gods. And but you're not sure what happened to the transition between the two. You don't know what happened to Corin, but you do see later on that it was in Tarek's hands. And then after that, it just disappeared. There's no more mention of it.
Okay.
The longer you spend looking for the sword in these various books, what have you done with this sword? Have you just sheathed it? Have you replaced your long sword with it, or
tuned to it?
Yeah, I was to say I would probably spend some time holding it and
okay,
maybe even do some more prayer and try different things and see if it reacts in any other way when I do different things with it. Maybe go out to the practice yard if there is one.
All right. You fool around with it for a little while. You essentially take time to attune to it. You will find that it is a +1 longsword.
Nice.
Other than that, you're just feeling a really strong connection to it. Seems to just be connecting to you. It's a bond with a sword that you've never really had a bond with anyone other than maybe Erwin. I mean, he was kind of like your father. But this is a bond that you have never experienced before.
Would it make me think of my brother?
It would, actually.
And when he comes to mind, does the sword seem to respond at all or anything?
The sword seems, when your brother comes to mind, the sword does seem to almost warm a little bit in your hands, almost to give you comfort.
That's definitely something I will bring up to Erwin once we're back in Thrice.
All right.
And maybe even Tatra.
Okay. So that is what you're doing this evening and then going to bed?
Eventually.
Fix, what are you doing this evening? or are you just sleeping?
He would actually, before he goes to sleep, he would go and find the Grand Master
Okay.
and say, so first, apologies about the misunderstanding. Second, the Jagged Edge. Do they have any direct opposition?
I don't believe they do have direct opposition outside of the possible governments of the various cities that they tend to wreak havoc in. That would be, I guess, the only direct opposition. I mean, it kind of depends on what they're planning as to who's going to be opposing them.
But there's no one that opposes their methods in general?
Well, I mean, all of governments are oppose their methods. They want to keep peace. They don't want chaos. They want peace and enlightenment. So that's why I say the government probably is the most opposing. Although, I'm sure you could find some within the Order of Truth that would oppose them.
Okay, well, again, sorry about the misunderstanding. And thank you. And then he goes and he goes to sleep.
All right, you are welcome. Fix, dare I ask what you do tonight? Or I mean, Foresight, dare I ask what you do tonight?
Oh, actually, I'm going to count my money and then I'm going to go to sleep.
Wow, quiet night for Foresight.
Also,
I think he
what did
knows
I-
better
what did I
than
get?
to do anything here.
I missed what I got from the pocket of the guy.
It is a set of metallic rings. You're not sure what
Okay.
they are yet.
I'm not sure what they are yet. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at them.
Okay.
I'll
You
hold them
fool-
in my hands. Maybe even put
All
them
right.
on if I can.
Yeah, actually. When you start to kind of mess with them, they're all about, fist size-ish, but they're hollow and they're all interlocked. So as you're kind of playing with them a little bit, you realize that you could hold one of them and you can kind of shake your hand just a little bit, and the rest of them will kind of fan out around your hand, and they stay. And
Okay.
you know for sure that this has got some power behind it. You can feel it. You have found a cipher.
Cipher.
Ooh.
Okay.
Brass knuckles.
Brass knuckles. kind of.
Magic
Kind of
brass
More
brass
knuckles.
like a shield.
Magical brass knuckles.
Magical brass knuckles. They are officially called, as you fool around with them, they are officially called a ray emitter. And I haven't gotten this in D&D Beyond yet. However,
Okay.
your ray emitter, you can feel, will be, it kind of radiates a necrotic feel to it. It is what is known as a cell-disrupting radiation ray emitter.
Okay.
And I can get that into D&D Beyond this week.
You have an X-ray gun from
You have a-
1997. I'm just
From
kidding.
1970.
And we decided that potion of emotion,
Poison.
yeah, because of what it is, we're just going to count it as a cipher.
Count it as a cipher, because
Okay.
that's what it is in here. That way it just keeps everything. I don't
I'm
have to
good
think about
because I took the cipher master so I can carry 4.
Okay. Yes, keep track of how many ciphers you have. Because they start to radiate as you get more and more of them on your person.
Easy.
Start to
Zero.
vibrate.
0.
Yep. 0. All right. The night is peaceful. You get a full night's rest. You should level your characters to level 4 if you haven't done so already. Or at least get it going to where you know what you're doing with it.
Okay.
And the morning comes, and breakfast smells Oh, wonderful.
I go and I eat.
Figure out which feet to take.
Well, you have some time to think about it. But breakfast comes. It is served in the dining hall of the monastery, the temple here. There are several people milling about. Younger children, they seem to be in the ages between 12 and 15-ish, that are doing all of the serving. They're pulling out all the dishes. They're doing all of that. The headmaster and a couple of others are there, also getting some food. You're welcome to sit, take it back to your rooms, do whatever. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But your morning is yours. What would you like to do?
I'm packing to leave.
Wow.
Everyone at
I'm
once.
packing to leave.
Oh.
Did the sword have a name that I know of?
Alternately, I'm leaving to pack.
Not that you know of. It's just always been the sword of the Raven Queen. All right. So you get yourselves all together. Cadet, when you pull out the sword,
It starts talking to you. Hey, but oh,
hey, buddy. Hey.
In Goliath. Oh, wait.
Hey, guys. It actually, when you pull out the sword, you immediately notice the symbols on the handguard
Uh-huh.
are actually not symbols. They're just etchings, and they are of feathers. They become very clear.
Okay.
The etchings on the blade itself, the symbols on the blade, are becoming more defined. They're not completely there yet, but they are becoming more defined.
I'm going to keep an eye on them over the next day or two, and if they become defined, if they become really well defined, then I will show it to Fix.
All right.
The feathers, do they seem to be like any specific kind of feather or just a generic feather? Like,
Yeah,
do
they
they
look-
look like raven's
probably
feathers?
raven.
They look like raven's feathers.
Okay.
That's my Nana Nana Boo Boo. I thought so.
Well, Kadath has a healthy level of skepticism.
That is a healthy level. You guys get yourselves together. Fix, you've already mentioned wanting to go back to your family. I'm assuming the rest of you are not. Are you planning to meet somewhere? You're going to stay here and wait for him to come back?
I'll be waiting
What's
by
your plan?
whatever gate we're going to be leaving by.
I'll be waiting with him.
I'll actually wait outside the house, but like nearby, but not necessarily like where I can see the house, but they can't necessarily see me easily,
He's the backup.
just in case.
All right. You guys plan your route to leave and send Fix and Kadeth on their merry way. Kadeth hangs back once you start to hit the neighborhood so that he can just stay out of eyesight, preferably. And you go to the house, Fix.
Yep.
You walk into the house.
I'm going to give you 20 minutes.
And then what? You're leaving?
I'll find the others and come in after you.
And make it 30 minutes.
Very well. But try and make it faster than that if possible.
I will.
I think the others are anxious to be out of this city.
Slightly.
True. I'll make it as quickly as possible. Yeah, and he'll go in.
All right, you go in. and you will see Bruman, your
Right.
eldest brother.
Right before he goes in, though, he will cast Armor of Agathis.
Nice.
Just to be on the safe side.
It is a 1-minute casting, so yes, I'm casting it before I go in. Not like, hey, hold up. Don't beat me up. Give me 1 minute. Exactly 1 minute, 6 seconds, all right?
1 minute. All right. You walk in and you see Bruman standing kind of at the back of the hall. He looks like he was headed toward the kitchen, most likely. He'll stop and he'll look at you. He'll say, Kofik, tell me some good news. Tell me you've got good news.
Good is relative. Where's Mother?
In the office.
Thank you, he'll say, and he'll head that way.
He'll follow.
He'll walk into the office, and then he'll turn around and he'll close the door.
In your face.
This is not for you. This is an A and B conversation.
You will hear him grumble on the other side of the hall. It's like he's kind of saying something along the lines of, hey, it's not always our fault. Your mom is sitting at the desk. She's looking through some parchments, various ledgers and things like that. She sets it all down and she looks up. She says, Kofik, darling, tell me you've got good news. Did you find it?
I found it.
Great. You obviously are not carrying it unless you have, well, I don't know. Are you carrying it?
No.
Where is it?
In the hands of the one that it chose.
I was under the impression that this was not a very... Are you telling me this sword is magical?
It did not radiate magic when we found it. But it does seem to be.
Interesting. When can I expect it to arrive? Because I have somebody who wants that.
Well, that person will be sorely disappointed. I did not want you to think I was simply a thief, absconding with what I agreed to obtain. But I have decided not to honor our agreement, and I will not be turning over the sword to you. I do not think that it would be the best choice. Now that I know what it is.
Well, what is it? Are you going to enlighten me?
He has a look of, how do I explain this without explaining this? I believe in tales of old, it is similar to that of what one would call a holy avenger. But that is the closest that I can come to think of it. Or rather, a non-aligned avenger.
Non-aligned
Yes.
avenger.
A neutral avenger.
It's a neutral avenger.
A neutral, wishy-washy sword. Yes, there.
It's a wishy-washy sword.
It's wiki-watchy.
Wiki.
Well then.
So I was advised that you were going to kill me at this point. So do I need to be concerned of that?
Hesitation, never good.
No. Despite my disappointment, you are still my son. One of whom I never really wanted to be part of this to begin with.
But I am. Now.
Yeah.
And the more that I hear about this, the more I fear you. There's a bit of sloppiness.
Well, I mean, yes.
Even in chaos, there should be order.
Wouldn't exactly be chaos if it had order, now would it?
But my understanding of your organization is that it's more hiddenly controlled for a specific agenda.
Oftentimes.
So there needs
That
to
is
be
true.
order in that portion of it. Or the clock will be wrong.
Touche. There is order behind the madness, I suppose.
It doesn't seem that way. Like he just straight up says that. Like Mom, you're doing a bad job.
How many things have you heard us involved in?
It is less what I've heard you be involved in and more how you're spoken of. The fact that you're spoken of at all.
Well,
It's not a very secret organization.
it's not a secret organization. I don't mind that the Jagged Dream gets out. I care more about people being known as being part of the Jagged Dream. And she gives you a very pointed look.
I have done all that I can to ensure that that information is held close to the vest.
Good.
And he holds his hand out to her.
What do you need?
We both agreed no matter how much we dislike it, I am now part of this.
You're joining the Jagged Dream?
Consider me an independent consultant.
An independent consultant I can handle. I will not let you go deep. However, that being said, she holds her hand and she takes your hand. If you do find yourself in trouble, find somebody in the Jagged Dream. If you let them know you are the son of a rayless fellow, they will take care of you.
What was the name again? How do you spell it?
Arias Felon. Let me spell it for you. Arias, Arias. Felon. Let's go to a different page for Felon.
Jailbird.
Jailbird.
Jailbird. Falon.
A ray of sunshine.
That's not her
Felon.
actual name though. And he looks at her and he's like, should I have a code name too?
No, I'm not letting you get that deep.
He smirks. Sometimes the chaos if not kept in order, makes things happen that we don't necessarily want.
Sometimes I have a feeling you won't let it.
Oh, and
You won't.
don't worry about paying me since I didn't deliver the product.
Oh, well, that's good.
He says with kind of a smirk.
Because I'm going to have to pay my employer.
Be careful with that employer if they know what this was.
I have a feeling they may have known what this was. They did a lot of research on this.
And blame them for putting you in such a position.
I will be asking questions.
And he will, once that's done, like the whole, like the business space that he was holding and everything kind of drops, and he'll give her a hug and say, I'll be heading out now. Do you know where my sister is?
Your sister headed to the north. Why am I telling you this? I don't want you in this deep.
Because you know that I'll find out one way or the other.
Oh, probably. Well, that much is true. The only way we could keep this secret from you is to make you leave. She headed up north. She was going to check out the Amber Monolith.
No, she is my favorite, so please make sure nothing happens to her.
Well, I can't guarantee her safety from here, but she has long been taking care of herself.
Yes, but don't put her in undue danger just because I figured out your secret and you seem to blame her.
I was very angry with her. But no, that is not an undue danger. Matter of fact, she'll hate me when she gets back. Not exactly action-packed where I sent her.
About how, I'm guessing it's been like 15, 20 minutes at this point.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Okay. And he says, well, before my friends think something ill has happened, I do need to go.
Very well. When do you expect to return?
I haven't thought that far just yet.
All right. Well, next time you're in Key, remember, this is still your home.
I appreciate that. It would be nice if I had my own room when I returned.
Well, you know, unless you return here frequently, I need guest rooms.
Or you can just kick one of the other of your sons out because they're worthless.
Can you feel?
They all play their
Family
part, Fix. Oh, Fix. They all play their part.
No.
Perhaps. Who knows? Perhaps they might come to find some of that danger we were speaking of.
Perhaps.
And he'd give her another hug and they even say, and next time I come back, I'd love to meet the baby Drake you have in your study.
Well, next time you come back, you might not be so little.
Perhaps. And he'll leave. I'm guessing my eldest brother's out in the hallway.
Yeah. He's standing there and just kind of watching, fuming a little bit that he got left out.
Fix will just give him the sweetest shit-eating grin smile and say, "Have a great life," and walk out.
As you're walking out, you're gonna hear your mom holler for him, and you know that she's talking business with him. Probably in light of the bomb you just dropped.
And then he'll
She's
walk out
getting
to
that sword.
Cadet.
One thing I realized I forgot to say earlier, the night before this, one thing I would have done was to perform the 1 hour ritual to make this a packed weapon, if it'll do it. Because if it's an artifact or a sentient weapon, then it won't work.
It is going to work for this purpose.
Okay. Then in that case, I don't visibly carry this thing.
Yeah, you suddenly realize that Cadet doesn't even hold the sword anymore.
I haven't been all day.
You're not
Would have
sure
also
where he put it.
realized that he didn't carry his previous sword though, correct?
No, I left it behind.
Right, no, before, in fights and everything, it would just appear.
Only recently.
Okay, but still
Or,
it was happening.
Yeah, it was happening, but
Okay. It was happening. Okay.
yeah, because I got that at 3rd level.
Okay.
So Fix wouldn't have been too concerned. He's got an extra pocket somewhere. I don't even want to know.
He's got an inside pocket.
It literally just appears in my hand when I want it to. Takes an action.
All right. That's probably just as well. You don't want to be flashing that sword. All right. So you head out.
And it walks
You meet up with Cadet.
and he says, "Well, either they didn't kill me or I'm a doppelganger, so let's go."
Copy that.
And I'll just ask him something random that only Fix would know. Only the real Fix.
What time is it?
Yeah. I'll ask him exactly what time it is, to the second.
And he'll give the answer. It's
More precision than I even asked for, and I'm like, okay,
That's the one.
You're you. Let's
That's
go.
the one.
Not only will
9:37
he
and 27 seconds, 28, 29.
give you
enough
the
for me.
answer, his whole face lights up.
Enough for me,
all
my
right.
friend. Let's go
you
find
head
the others
to-
and leave this city.
The eastern gate, if you're headed back toward Thrice. And that is where you're going to meet up with the rest of your group, unless you decide to go someplace else. But you will see Fix and Cadet come up, join the 3 of you. And
Were we going to take a ship, or were we going to walk or ride? Or do we know?
I just want to get out of here.
nobody thought that far in
Likewise.
advance. They were like,
No.
just leave. We just need to leave. Just leave.
Can we book transportation that takes us less time, or do we want to scour the countryside?
Mhm.
I'm okay either way.
There's advantages either way.
You could book transportation on a ship, which would take you just as much time as you got here. What did I say, like a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah,
like that.
something like that.
You can get a couple of horses. It'll take a little longer. Go over land. You could get a couple of horses and join up with a caravan as just kind of guard for a caravan to head out that direction, which would take a little while.
Coin.
Well, since we didn't get paid for the last job.
Yeah,
That might be wise.
I'll suggest the caravan route.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
I don't know. I like Fix's negotiation skills.
Safety in numbers and more fun too.
All right. You find a caravan that's getting ready to head out, and you approach the caravan leader, ask them about journey and if they've got guards or any kind of protection on the way, and
Are they going all the way to Thrice, or are they stopping at like Weirfall.
They are planning on stopping at, where's Key? There's Key. They are planning actually to stop at Borig.
Okay.
So they are planning to stop at Borig. So they're going a good, I don't know, what, 2/3 of the way or half the way?
About 2/3.
Yeah, something like that. So you will have with them a good distance. Borig to Thrice, you're pretty sure you could probably get on another caravan or even a ship at that point. And this merchant's just traveling with some spices and grains, things like that, non-perishables to send upriver, basically. And so he welcomes you. He says, I am willing to pay you 100 gold apiece for that distance.
That's how long?
That will be about a week. Well, a little over a week. Probably a week and a half to get to Borig.
Are they providing the horses?
Yes, they have extra horses in the caravan. There's also room on the caravan where a couple of you would be riding, a couple of you would be on a couple of the wagons. And you guys can alternate. Spices and grains, food goods mostly.
At the price of spices, you can certainly afford to pay us 150 each.
Agreed.
I mean, spices are among the most expensive commodities traveling these roads. And if you, by chance, are robbed by bandits because we're not properly motivated, then you're gonna lose much more than that, many times over.
Look.
What he said.
100 gold, and then when we get to Borig, we'll see what the spices are bringing in, and then maybe an additional 50 when we get there.
Okay. Vix makes a mental note to make sure to send Forsyth ahead a day or so and steal all the spices.
You know he'd do it.
Yeah, he would. He's done being goody two-shoes.
Then the spices will sell for higher. We get the extra 50 gold. Forsyth can sell all the spices and we'll have more money even.
Probably already has more than you do.
All right. You guys get ready to head out. It's like there's 3 wagons. There's a couple of horses for you guys. There's room on each of the wagons. And you head out of Key. You head to the east toward Weirfall first. They're going to stop by Weirfall. They're going to pretty much follow the river. And they're going to stop by Weirfall first. And that is where we're going to leave tonight. Okay?
All right.
Any questions? Got it? Good. All right. Those of you who are watching, thanks for sticking with us to the end. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe so when we're on next live, you'll know that we're live if you hit that notification button. And feel free to leave comments. Let us know what you like, what you enjoy, and we'll read them. That's for sure. So we will see you next Tuesday.